What's up, everybody? Welcome to the fourth episode of Chats with Chambers. Chats with Chambers. I'm trying to make a little theme song. This is a podcast where I really want to have on a lot of people who really mean the most to me and that are really special in my life. And I couldn't wait for this episode. I'm super excited about this. And my guest on this episode is none other than my uncle Stevie. Steven Janos Porch. Has that always been like, I feel like I see on your Facebook that first it was Stephen Porch, and then you switched it over to Janos.
To the Hungarian name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And also P-O-R-C-S, right? Not
P-O-R-C-S. I emphasize Janos because that was my uncle's name, who was killed in World War II.
Your uncle was in World War II, okay.
Yeah. He was on the USS Quincy.
That's on the Chismadia side?
No, that's on the Porch side.
Porch side, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Got you. Wow.
Yep. He was 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I feel like back then too, that was probably what,
1942.
So I feel like you really had to go to war back then. You didn't really have an option.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. They were in the Battle of Solomon Islands and they were ambushed. They were surprised. There was a few ships that went down.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
So
I'd have to tell them that I'm
he's a man I never met, but I could feel him.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always been, I could feel his presence.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of him. He's like a hero to me.
And what was his name?
His name was Janos Porch.
Janos Porch. Okay, so
Janos means John in Hungarian.
So you actually took his full name.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think
whatever you want to say.
And I feel like we'll jump around to to different sorts of topics, but
absolutely.
I think that the first thing I want to talk to you about is that you are my dad's uncle.
Yep.
But my dad is older than you.
Your dad's 4 years older than me.
And how and so
I was a surprise.
And so when you and my dad were younger, how did that feel to, I guess, well, how did that feel to be an uncle?
Technically, I was an only child because all my sisters were already out of the house. I think my sister Marianne, who's the youngest of my three sisters, was 22 years old. So I was an only child, but Chuck was my brother. Dina was my sister, who's also 4 years older.
And so how many siblings do you have, that you had that pass? Or
three sisters, Joni, Barbara, and Marianne, and then me.
And
my mom thought she was sick with a tumor when I was born. So she went to the doctor and says, I think I got a tumor. There's something in my... Doctor said, if there's a tumor in your stomach, there's a heart beating inside of it.
She said, She said, if there's a tumor, you're going to have to name it.
You're going to have to name that tumor.
And how old was your mother when she had you?
I'm pretty sure she's about 44, 45. But back then in 61, that was a big age.
That was
to have a child.
That was very... So...
An older age. Yeah.
So when your mom had her first child, how old was she?
My mom was 16 when she had Joni. Chuck's mother. So
when she had Joni, she was 16, and when she had you, she was 44.
She was 44.
Wow. And
when my mother was pregnant with me in St. Vincent's Hospital in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Marianne was pregnant with my nephew, Michael.
So they were both in the hospital at the same time.
Both in the hospital at the same time. My mother was embarrassed. I'm having a baby. My daughter's having a baby. So I was born July 11th. My nephew Michael was born July 14th.
Wow.
And my brother-in-law Jimmy is holding us in the hallways. And somebody thought he had twins, and he said, "This guy over here is my brother-in-law."
He said, "This is actually my brother, and this is
my brother-in-law. This is my son."
That's but I also feel like that gives you a really unique experience on just life, and I think just a kind of outlook, because you were able to experience very different perspectives, I think, of what it's like to grow up in that sort of household. I want to talk about that too, but so you said that you were born in, where were you born?
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Okay.
Yep.
And what was life like having to grow up in 1960 or 1970?
It was great. Mom was home. My father was a crane operator. And it was great. You know, we would get out of school on like June 14th, go back after Labor Day. And we would it was a great time. You know, it was a simple time. No phones. We all played outside.
Which I feel like was a lot better for your headspace and like your mental health.
We play like young kids in Black Rock, and we would just like play this game called Chase. It's like a hide and seek. But we would be like all down the street, down Fairfield Avenue, and we're like 9, 10 years old.
And were like a lot of your friends that you met, were they friends that you met from school, or were they friends that were like in your neighborhood?
The friends I met in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Neighborhood, okay.
Yeah.
And so where you were living, like all of like your neighbors were pretty close with each other?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really not like that. Like I don't even talk to my neighbors right now.
No, but I know. It was more of a neighborhood back then.
Yeah.
The 3 family houses, 2 family houses, you know. It was a community.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I also feel like it's almost like back around that time, it's like you had to get out in order to see people. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, like you couldn't just go on your phone and
social media was like sitting on the hood of a car on the front stoop of your house, and everybody came over. And next thing you know, you're just talking, and that's the way it was.
And like you just made friends, yeah. And then, where did you go to elementary school?
I went to elementary school at St. Emery School. It was a Hungarian Catholic school.
Okay.
Yep.
Hungarian Catholic school.
Yeah,
so did you was that like a school where they made you go to mass like every Sunday? Yeah.
Every day. Yeah.
You went to mass every day?
Every day.
Wow.
You marched down the hill like soldiers.
The body of Christ.
Exactly.
And then after elementary school, I know that you went to high school, but only for a short time.
I went to junior high school, but school wasn't for me. 8th grade was the last grade I completed.
Yeah. And then what was that? Because that's having to look at where you were and having to leave school so early and having to see where you are now and like what you've accomplished and how you've been able to maintain and sustain the lifestyle that you have. What was your mindset when you left 8th grade?
Well, I wanted to get into a trade school, but I wasn't a very good student. My attendance wasn't good, and I didn't get in. So what I did was my dad had retired. And, I was painting around Bridgeport with him. We were painting for my sister worked at People's Savings Bank, property management. So we would paint the apartments that the college kids had for UB. We'd paint them, get them ready, and they'd move in. And if they moved out, we'd paint them again. We painted in the South End. We painted in the East Side. And I did that for a few years. And when I was 17, I'm like, Dad, this ain't for me. I really don't like it. I thought I would have liked to have been a painter, but I did some landscaping work too. So I went to truck driving school, county schools in Bridgeport.
Wow. Okay. So when you left high school, when you left 8th grade, you sort of like had to dabble in like a few other jobs.
I was just like hanging out with friends.
Like trying to find your footing, I guess, after that.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you started to go to truck
driving school.
Okay.
It was county schools in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And it was a 6-month course. So many hours of classroom, field, and road training. And I graduated from there. And when I was 18, a guy by the name of Bobby Pacelli for Pace Motor Lines in Stratford, Connecticut, gave me a chance. And I started truck driving tractor trailers at 18 within Connecticut. I couldn't go over the state line.
Wow.
But he gave me my break. I'm like indebted to him.
So, you were 18 years old and you were basically on the road by yourself.
By myself, yeah.
And what was the farthest that I guess you would have to drive in one time?
Well, in Connecticut, when I was 18, I couldn't leave the state. I was too young. But I would drop trailers here, there, turning and burning. You drop a trailer, turn around, get another one, here and there, dropping and hooking. And then I got my own pedal run, which is a delivery route. And I ran Bridgeport, then I did Danbury, I did the Valley of Connecticut, and, just all over the place.
And I'm assuming when you're in the truck a lot, you spend a lot of time alone, right?
A lot of time alone, a lot of time thinking.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that when I was on the road, but, traveling further.
Yeah.
We call it windshield time. It's like a good time to think. You got the radio on, you're like kind of meditating.
Yeah, I would imagine that that's like you have like a constant time to reflect
Yes,
and just kind of.
absolutely.
Sometimes I think having to be alone for so long maybe is not a good thing, but I think like you probably are able to think a lot about
Yeah.
yourself and life.
I'm a people person. I like to talk to people, meet people, and people would actually tell me, "Man, you talk to everybody." I go, when I was driving a truck, I was in a truck by myself.
You talk to
And
anyone.
I was like, who do I talk to? The fly that flew in the cab? I would say, you're gonna miss your family in another 100 miles when you get out, And I really miss truck driving. Yeah.
And what was the longest that I guess you had to be away from your family?
I've been gone for a week at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that for?
30 years.
30 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Week or a little more.
I mean, so when I think about that, I think about like you probably have encountered all different sorts of people on the road and all different kinds of things. Like
I've seen a lot of wonderful things and I've seen a lot of tragedy.
What's the most insane thing that you've seen while on the road?
Well, I seen a young man flip about 7 times in front of me at about 4 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus.
And he was trying to, the lanes were full of cars. He was a young guy. He wanted to take the emergency lane to pass everybody, which of course is illegal. And he came upon a disabled container truck, tractor trailer, overseas container truck. So he overcorrected. He's heading to the guardrail. And he should have hit the guardrail because he would have probably have lived. But in Florida, it's sugar sand he got stuck in. And he overcorrected, and he started flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping.
God.
And he didn't have a seatbelt on. But if he did, he actually might have got banged up, but he probably would have lived because the passenger side was crushed, but the driver's side wasn't. The driver's side was intact. But he was thrown from the vehicle.
Oh, my God.
So what I did is, it was dark, and I took my triangles out, and I put it all around the body. Because I said to myself,
you got out of the car to actually
I got out
help
of the rig.
him, yeah.
I got my flashers on, got out of the rig. We carry triangles for when we're broke down. I put it around the body. And I see the oncoming lights of other trucks coming, and the truck driver, another trucker stopped behind me, put his flashers on. But then a car is going around that truck driver and almost went into the guy in the road. He was 23 years old. I stood till the helicopters took him. This is the worst thing I've seen on the road because I was right there. I've seen, his name was Sean Dugan. He was 23 years old. He was getting ready to join the military because the family wanted to meet the trucker that was up there with their son. And, the mother said, I want you to see my son in a different light and remember him looking like the picture I'm going to show you rather than what you've seen on the highway.
Oh, my God.
And he was a young man. Handsome young man. She sent me pictures of him with his nieces in the pool, just having a good old time.
I mean, that's what you think. Like, you always see like an accident that's on like the news or something, and you don't really like. Sometimes you forget that it's like, oh, this is a guy just like me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Member. I would see motorcyclists on the road covered over, and I would see the fellow bikers on the road with their phone, and they're calling their family member, and somebody's going to just have one hell of a horrific day, getting the news that their loved one was killed on a highway.
It's
you could literally write a book. I think a lot of young people should drive with a truck driver, a tractor trailer driver like myself, who's on the road, or a policeman to see what we see. And maybe they would drive a little differently.
That's a really good observation.
Yeah.
I wanted to say to you, thank you for doing this. Like, this is so.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I mean, this is like so cool.
It's my pleasure, man.
And I'm so happy that we're able to spend all of like this time together.
Absolutely.
I care so much about you, and I'm so happy that I love you too.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I would be honored to have a son like you.
Well, you're like my dad, basically.
Yeah.
We look alike.
We do look alike. You got my genes. You're handsome like your uncle.
We both have a beard. We both have. It's, and I'm just interested about a lot of things. I want to jump a little bit to something different.
Sure.
You and I are both, I think that we both love art.
Yes.
You know what? I think we're both very artistic people. And I want to talk to you a little bit about your tattoos.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
So what was the first tattoo that you ever got? Because, and I'm saying that because right now, obviously, you have on a shirt, but
Yeah.
but I'd say that your whole body is basically like a work of art.
My whole body is tattooed. Yeah.
And what is the thought behind, like, what got you so intrigued in having to do that?
My father was a member of a Naval Veterans Club in Bridgeport called Port 5. And I kind of grew up in that club as a little boy, having my soda at the table next to the bar. And I would see all the sailors and Army, Marines, Air Force guys coming in with the tattoos, little souvenirs of where they've been. And I says, you know what, I want to get one of them. My dad had tattoos. And so I did. In 1977, I got my first tattoo by Big Joe Kaplan in Mount Vernon, New York.
Hell yeah.
And the tattoo artist, Big Joe, did my first one, and his partner in the shop, Louis Lombi, did my second one. And me and Louis have been friends for well over 45 years.
Wow.
46 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And speaking of your father, that makes me think, like, you had, I mean, I'm sure that, like, you were close with both your mother and your father,
Yes.
but was there one of them that you had like a closer relationship with, or was it both kind of equal?
I was close to my mom. I was close to my dad too, but my dad liked to drink. You know, he liked to drink, which you know, it is what it is. And but we were all very close. Always did a lot of fishing together and hanging out at the Naval Club together. And he taught me a lot. You know, how to act on the street when you're out with your friends. And yeah,
like when I think of your mother lived until
98.
Wow.
98. They moved to Florida in 1987. That's what brought me to Florida, because my dad was hit by a drunk driver. They were there 3 months.
And after your father was hit by that drunk driver, that was kind of, then the thing went down from there.
Yeah, he became bedridden, and it was a really bad time. And I was there. I went down there and to be close to Mom. I wish that I was able to meet him, but I think he passed away like the year that my brother was born. 1991.
91, yeah, it's the year that Ryan was born.
Yeah. A nurse actually hit him from Tampa. A nurse hit
Are you serious?
Yeah,
it
was a nurse, and we were in Fort Lauderdale, and they T-boned the car.
Jesus.
And my mother and sister were behind the car because they were picking up my father and his son-in-law Ronnie were in the car. They were picking up a rent-a-car, and she T-boned the car. And then they switched seats, acting like a gentleman was driving, a guy was driving. He's not a
my
gentleman,
God!
to me, they're scumbags for what they did. A guy was driving, said he was driving, and witnesses came forward, said no way, that girl was driving, and she was drunk as a skunk.
God.
Yeah, and she was a nurse. Yep. No insurance, no nothing.
People are.
It's
hard to have empathy for those kind of people.
My dad was how old was he when this happened? 77, but he was still avid woodworker. He was really enjoying his time in Florida. And they were in a nice adult mobile home park. It was like Shangri-La.
Yeah.
They lived in Margate, Florida, which is a little city outside of Pompano Beach.
Okay. Yeah, I know that you spent a lot of time in Florida. You spent like
34 years.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you too, speaking of your mother and father, I know that your mother, who is my great grandmother, she like was very, she always had a pep in her step. Yeah. I feel like, even up like until she, passed.
Yes. She drove till she was about, 96.
Wow.
95, about 95, I would say. Yeah.
Is there like a funny story that you can think about? Like, what's the I guess like the funniest interaction that I heard a story one time that she got pulled over by the cops and she was in the back seat and she faked like she had to go to the bathroom.
Yes,
and
she's done that.
And the cop let her out.
She was driving and she went to bingo, so she's coming home. It's like
she liked to gamble.
Yeah, she liked to gamble. So she left our house at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and about 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm asking my wife, "Where's Ma? Have you seen her?" She goes, "I don't know. I thought she was maybe in bed. We didn't." Well, it turns out the car wasn't there. So she comes home like about 3 o'clock in the morning because she stood to the morning bingo, the afternoon bingo, and the evening bingo, and the late bingo. I mean, and a cop pulled her over in Coconut Creek, Florida. And he says, "Ma'am, you're going pretty fast. It's like a 25-mile-an-hour zone. Officer, I got to go to the bathroom so bad." You know, my mother could sweet talk her. Oh, I could sweet talk anybody. And he let her go. He let her go. And then one day she's asking me, "Stevie, I really don't know how to get to this place we're going to. I'm going to follow you, okay?" I said, "Sure, Ma, just follow me." So as we're driving down the road, we get on the main highway. My mother passes me. And I said to Joanne, "Where's she going?" So she kept going, and we didn't have cell phones then, so when I got home, I'm like, "Mom, why did you pass me on the road? You're supposed to follow me." She goes, "Oh, once I got on the main road, I remembered where I was going." So she went on her
So
own.
she just booked it.
She had a little heavy foot. You know?
Yeah. She was always so funny.
She was the sweetest woman.
She
I was
was.
blessed with a wonderful mother and father. Yeah.
And I always think too, I think she lived so long because she just had like a lot of positive energy.
She had
you
a
know?
lot of positive energy. She never took a nap. She loved her family. She loved to gamble.
She loved to gamble.
She loved to play cards.
Yeah.
She loved to play cards with the family, with the kids. And when she played cards, there was no family. It was cutthroat, you know?
She like used to play cards for money.
Oh, yeah. She played poker, pinochle.
She used to win a lot.
Yeah, I guess she did. I guess she did, you know? Yep, she liked going to the casino. I used to take her to the casino, me and Joanne down in Florida. We had a lot of casinos down there. She enjoyed doing that. And, yeah. She talked to me like I was like if I was a 5-year-old kid, you know?
Even when you were like in your 50s and 40s. Yeah, that's what violent.
Dear Stevie. Being a little 5-year-old coming around the corner, a big lug like me coming around. "What do you want, Ma?"
And you're like, "Ma, I'm 6'3".
I'm 6'3". I'm 60 years old. Well, no, she died a long time ago.
Yeah.
But, I was like in my 40s, 30s, you know, and she's like, but I relish every moment I had with her.
Yeah.
You know, you got to do that in life, man.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy the simple things in life, you know.
There's so I want to say to you real quick, like this part, like if you want to, like we can take out, but I don't know, like I'm just feeling like I want to obviously in the last few years you have experienced a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if that's something that you would be willing to just even like I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, you know, having to talk about your mother and having to enjoy the simple things, like what do you feel is the meaning of life? Like, what does it mean to be alive? What are the things that you, I guess, feel are most important?
With me and my wife, Joanne, who recently passed away, it's just enjoying each other's company, being thankful for what you got. We've never been materialistic people, never lived above our means. And just getting up in the morning and having a cup of coffee with a loved one, and just cherish it, you know, because life is like a light switch. You flip it, it could change. Because that's what happened to us. 17 months ago, my wife was diagnosed with cancer. And she was diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma, and she battled. We thought we were making headway, and then we would 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And then the cancer started in the kidney, went to the lungs, and went to the liver. Then the lymph node glands, and then a little bit in the neck. So my wife said, "Steve, I just can't fight no more." And,
something that I had only seen her a few times because I know that you guys were doing a lot of things in Westport, and obviously she was sick. But the one thing that I always noticed about her was that even when she was sick, you really couldn't, you just couldn't tell because her attitude was
so.
She always
had a smile on her face.
Yeah.
She was always positive. And in the beginning, I didn't ask her these questions, but I had asked her, "Joanne, are you afraid to die?" And she would say, "No, Steve, I'm not afraid to die. I just don't know how I'm going to say goodbye to you." You know. And being riddled with the cancer, we would lay in bed, and just me rubbing her head. I would rub her head because I always rubbed her head, or I'd rub her feet on the couch. She'd be like, "I'm the luckiest girl in the world," she would say. And she's riddled with cancer. And just me rubbing her head, just that little bit, she'd be like, "I feel like the luckiest girl in the world." You know, we just loved each other's company. You know,
and that's such an important thing that it's like when you pass on, like you don't take any of you like don't take anything with you. You don't take any of you know, you don't take your car, you don't take your money, you don't take anything with you.
Take anything.
And it's obviously like in those sorts of moments really puts life and the meaning of life and everything, I think, into like a really deep perspective. And honestly, you are the strongest guy that I know, even throughout everything. And maybe it helps to be able to talk about it a little bit, you know, like you were saying, but you have, honestly, you've been inspiring to me. Like sometimes I'd be down here and just having to complain about just dumb shit, you know, that really doesn't matter at all. And just having to be able to spend the time with you that I have has really, I think it's really made me a better person. And I honestly mean that.
Thank you.
And you are someone that I look up to very, very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love you so much, pal.
I love you too.
And I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you and all you've accomplished.
Thanks, Uncle Steve.
Really, honest to God.
I want to, I have like a lot of ADD, so I feel like I keep jumping around. But I want to say thank you, like, for being able to be vulnerable. And like, this is obviously, you know, like, you're going to watch this. So it's, but, you've lived in a couple different areas your whole life, right? You lived in Florida, you lived up here, you lived in Massachusetts as well?
No.
Okay.
No.
What is the difference of lifestyles between living in Florida and living up here?
Well, up here, your friends remain your friends. At least in my case, they become more like family. Florida is very transient. You know, the people come and they go. People in different regions of the country, I don't know if it's the way they're brought up, or they're just some people are different, you know. And people from Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut, to be exact, to me, and the people from other parts of the country would say the same thing if they went to Bridgeport. That's not the same. Or if they went to Florida, they might say it's not the same. But for me, Florida to me was just a transient state. And my friends that I grew up, unfortunately, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, Black Rock to be specific, are all gone. Over the years, they all passed away. And when I came back, I met a whole new group of people at Harborview Market in Black Rock, and who have become like family to me, you know. And they really have, and I'm very blessed to have a nice group of friends. You know?
Sometimes friends, you know, they say that like you can't choose your family, but you can pick your friends. Sometimes friends hold that same kind of bond that you know have with family, right?
Friends are family.
Yeah, and
absolutely.
All right, there's like 3 more things that I want to talk to you about, and then you know. But again, I really appreciate you being here. You know,
pleasure.
It's fun.
Anything for you.
Sorry that I have that enormous picture of your nephew behind you.
My handsome nephew. With, what the heck's that guy's name again?
That's Alice Cooper.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Yep.
That looks like his brother.
That's Alice Cooper without his wig on.
And my dad without his wig on too.
Chuck's got the life-size poster of him back there.
And this might be hard to answer, right? But what is, out of all of the ink that you have, what's your favorite one? Or what's the one that like you look at the most and you're like, I'm so happy that I have that?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's just a simple traditional tattoo, and it's in memory of my uncle on my leg. And he was on the USS Quincy C-839, and it's a sailor's grave tattoo. And the legs are all like the flash, which was the stuff you see in a tattoo shop on a wall is called flash. See, when I got him, you just got him. And everything's done more thought out. The young guys here are doing fantastic work, you know, realistic work. But I like the memories stuff I have on my legs. That's the flash is from 1949 by a guy named Sailor Jerry. And I got a nice panther up here with a snake. Just a simple tattoo that I really like, you know.
I love that.
American Eagles.
Yeah.
You know, just traditional old tattoos.
I love it.
When tattoos are like tattoos, you know.
Yeah, it's I just always think like obviously, I think maybe it's a generational thing. Like some people love tattoos and some people don't.
Some people hate them. Yeah.
But I think it's like,
Oh, I've been called all different types of names by people. I've been called, I'd be walking by people, especially with my shorts on and a tank top. They go, look at that guy, how disgusting he's looking, how disgusting he looks. And I would be the first guy to pull my rig over to change the tire on your BMW or Mercedes for you. You know, you don't judge a book by its cover. You know, you miss out on.
Was the world always like that? Like even back when you were getting tattoos,
Well,
like
I was getting tattoos. You would be looked upon as like you're either a sailor or a biker, a delinquent. It was not mainstream.
yeah, there's like a huge stereotype.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is too with like.
There's very few women with tattoos.
Now there's a lot
Back
of
then, they
women.
didn't even use gloves. You know,
Really?
it's a whole different ballgame. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking in the 70s. Yeah, it's a whole. Tattooing is going so different.
That's such a. There's like a lot of. Stereotypes too, like even being a musician, it's like, oh, you must be broke, or you must like smoke weed, or you must be like a loser, you know. And it's just like,
Yep.
I think that the world would be a better place if you get to know.
People ask me, what do you do for a living? First they would say, are you a tattoo artist? I said, no, I'm a collector. Well, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, well, where are these people going with this? I said, well, I'm a truck driver. Oh, okay, that explains it.
Yeah, like what, like what the
fuck? You're in a truck by yourself, you know. They're just, people could be so rude, you know.
And it's I'm just happy that I have you in my life.
Thank you.
I'm
happy you're my nephew.
You have literally taught me so much. I wish, obviously, when you were living down in Florida, I didn't get to see you as often as I wanted to. But now that you're living up here,
I wish we could have came back. Mom loved Florida, and when my dad died, she couldn't make ends meet, so we took her in. And Mom just loved Florida, which, to be honest with you, I didn't think she really would when she first moved down there. But she loved Florida, and we stood there.
What was, now that I'm thinking like about my dad behind, like, you guys obviously, since you're his uncle and you're younger than him, you guys, when you were younger, you probably hung out, like you were friends the same age, you know, like you guys like were brothers.
I always looked up to Chuck, always. And even to this day, I consider him a brother, not really like a nephew.
Yeah.
I consider you like a son.
Yeah.
You know? I mean...
I think like when you get close to people like that, it's just hard.
Chuck was always like a brother. Dina was like a sister. All my nieces and nephews, we were like brothers and sisters. It's very odd, you know?
Yeah, like... Were there any... Wasn't there like a story that you used to tell me when you guys like would go into like the Coke truck, like you guys like would take stuff?
We would steal soda and stuff like that, and like little juvenile delinquents, and, you know, just kid stuff. You know? Yeah.
But like you just think back then, it's.
I used to hop on freight trains. They would be going by the house. They'd be going like 4 miles an hour, real slow, just chugging along. So we would jump onto the ladder of the freight trains and just ride them down the road.
Yeah, like no one would see you?
No one would see him. Oh, God, the engine was like, you couldn't even see it. They're like 200 cars long. So we would go down to this place it was on the corner of Fairfield Avenue and State Street Extension in Bridgeport called Juniors. And we would go over there, jump off, get a hamburger, and then... being a stupid kid's yard, now we got to walk home about 4 miles away. You know?
Yeah. You're like, oh wait, there's no train back.
There's no train going back. We gotta hoof it. You know. Yeah. That's what we did back then. In the winter, we hang on to the city buses and drive behind them and drag our feet in the snow. We're lucky we survived our childhood. Really.
I know.
Honest to God. You know. But that's what you did.
And so. Something that I want to ask you too, like the fact that my grandmother is like 30 years older than you, right?
Yeah.
She was like your mother, basically, right? Like
Joni, especially with the three girls, was like they would call it Mama's little helper. Like she was really an older sister who really helped her mom with the other girls. You know.
Yeah.
Joni was always the one that take care of the girls. You know. just just keep an eye on them and everything. You know?
Yeah. No, I'm saying like having to have 3 older sisters, they must have been very protective over you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born with like 4 mothers. My mother and the 3 sisters.
Yeah.
I got wonderful sisters.
Yeah.
I only have one left, which is Marianne, and she's in Florida. My youngest older sister, who I love very much. Wonderful, wonderful. Her son is 3 days younger than me. I was born July 11th. Michael was born July 14th.
This is my brother-in-law.
This is my son. This is my brother-in-law.
What are like with people's reactions when you said that?
When I tell people, they think it's hysterical. When Jimmy did it, they were like, "How could this be possible?" 1961. You just didn't do that. A lot of women had children older now. But they didn't know how it was gonna come out.
Yeah, like
I could have came out crazier than I am now.
Well, I mean, they thought that you were a tumor.
My mother thought she was sick. Dr. Ender, she thought she was sick. Oh my God, something's wrong with me. I hope I don't have a tumor.
And she said, "Well, the tumor has a penis."
Yeah, the tumor has a heartbeat, and the tumor's gonna be out in about 9 months or 7 months or however long I was there before she found out.
I really, like I said again, I'm super happy that you wanted, and this is the first episode that I've done in this new setup. So thank you so much
nice,
for. Thank you. Thank you.
I like your neon sign.
Oh, thank you. Is like
You should have it flashing though.
I know, yeah, like it's like I'm at like a club.
Yeah, like a bar.
Yeah.
No, it's real nice.
Is there? First of all, like I feel like we really got to know you and who you were and who you are now and the experiences that you've had that have like shaped you into the person that you are now. Is there one thing or is there anything that you want to leave anyone with that like what's one thing or like what's one advice that you would give to anyone, a young person, or like what is something I guess that you want to leave us with?
I would just like to leave you all with it's the simple things in life, just enjoy every day. And if you find someone in your life, just cherish them and tell them you love them. And just spend time with family, good friends. And it's not all about the bells and whistles life. It's not all about putting everything on a credit card to keep up with the Joneses, so to say. Just stay within your means, love your family, and because your life, like I say, it changes with the flick of a switch. My life changed 17 and a half months ago. My hopes and dreams with Joanne went out the window,
I want to.
Was here,
Yeah, I want to say too that your wife was such an incredible absolutely incredible human being.
She was a selfless woman. She'd rather give than receive, and she was just a wonderful soul.
And you guys had built such an amazing bond and such an amazing life with each other.
Only my wife, like I say, she mothered me. She was fantastic. I still can't believe she's gone. I'm getting through this interview, but I have my moments where I just feel like a lost soul.
Of course.
But I'm so happy that your mom and dad welcomed me into their home. And because I'm in a transition, I'm moving to Bridgeport in Black Rock, and he's been a big help to me. You have been a big help to me. The whole family, and
her spirit, like it's just making me think like you are such like a funny and charismatic guy that it's like her spirit lives on through you.
I hope so. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like,
yep, you gotta have your faith. Yeah.
Obviously, it's hard to. I know it's hard to like imagine that right now, but you are. I love you so much.
I love you too.
And
I love you probably more than you know. I love you so much, Alec, and I'm so proud of you. Proud of your music. Proud of your fan base. I'm proud of you.
Thanks, Uncle Steve.
And a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm so proud of you." I am proud of you. I'm proud of your brother. I'm proud of your sister. I love my nieces and nephews, and you're a very special guy.
You have brought so much happiness into our home, and we I don't want you to leave, you know.
I don't want to leave.
But I know obviously, but it's you know.
I'm gonna miss you too, buddy.
I'm just happy that we had to have this time together.
Yep. I love you.
I love you too. Cool. All done. Cool. Cool.
Cool.
Thanks, Uncle Steve.
That was pretty good, right?
That was beautiful.
We did a good job.
You're fucking awesome.